In this video, we're going to look at how to complete the advice exploration file note, completed after the advice exploration conversation. This note is particularly important for capturing any changes to goals and actions as a result of the trade-off discussion and consideration of goals achievability. It should be completed by the advisor conducting the interaction. As you would have previously noted, there are some mandatory and necessary fields to name and identify your file note. We won't be going into detail on those as they are self-explanatory. This next section asks about client issues and background. What are clients' concerns or issues, and why is the client concerned about this? Perhaps you have a long-term client receiving an age pension who is considering downsizing to a smaller, more manageable home, but is worried about losing the pension and having to pay full price for medications. When you enter information in a free text field, click on the bottom right-hand corner of the box to expand the free text field. Next, we come to scope. This section is really important as it records how the client's advice needs have been determined. Only capture scope information in this file note if this information was not previously captured in Practice Dashboard. If you select Yes, there were changes to goals. You'll need to complete the free text field to explain the reasons for the changes. For example, your client's retirement goal might have changed if the modelling indicated she could actually retire very comfortably earlier than originally planned. Next, you'll need to complete the trade-off discussion field. This is a really critical part of advice exploration and your notes should be detailed. Here you should capture what trade-offs were discussed, what outcome was reached, and why particular trade-offs have been made. This conversation is used to determine what is important to the client and to ensure they know what to expect from your advice. For example, perhaps the client has agreed to reduce the funding for a medium priority goal as it was adversely impacting a higher priority goal. Be sure to document the client's understanding of the trade-offs made and note whether the goal achievability impacted the final decision of the client. Next, you'll be asked whether any goals or events were parked. If yes, you will need to restate the reasons why goals or events have been parked in the file notes. This can be copied from Advice Builder, and confirm that the client understands the advice will not address those goals and why. Also, outline the impact or risk on parking the goal or event, and confirm whether the goal achievability impacted the decision to park the goal. Enter the time frame for revisiting parked goals or events. Next, enter whether any events were included in the favourite scenario, and if yes, outline any additional information not already captured in the Advice Builder as to why the event was included in the free text field. Then, enter any details of any agreed strategy discussions. For example, to set up an account-based pension or take super as a lump sum in 2 years' time, did the client provide any instructions on what strategies they'd prefer and why? And did goal achievability impact these agreed strategies? Then, enter details of any advice areas the client does not want addressed. What are the consequences of the client not receiving advice in these areas? What did the client say when you raise these consequences with them? This is particularly important for advice that could impact a client's overall goal achievement. You'll then need to confirm you can still provide advice in the client's best interest, despite the client not wanting to address other identified areas of advice. If you can't provide advice that's in the client's best interest, you should not proceed with the advice. If you can, you should document why you can still provide advice that's in their best interest, and that you've explained the risk of excluding certain advice areas from the scope of your advice. Then we come to insurance. This section is also very important as it records the client's ability and willingness to pay for insurance and their understanding of risks and benefits of insurance. You'll need to specify whether the client has declined to receive full insurance advice. If they have declined full insurance advice, you'll need to document the reason for the client's decision to receive only partial or no insurance. You should also document how you explain the risk of not obtaining advice on insurance requirements and that the client understands the consequences. For example, they may be subject to financial hardship in the event of death or disability. Similarly, if you are unable to advise on insurance or insurance is simply not applicable, you should explain the circumstances, whether that be a referral to a third party or whether it be an explanation regarding the complications of obtaining insurance due to age or ill health. You should also confirm that you've explained the risk of underinsurance where relevant. For example, you've explained to the client that this could result in them needing to sell off other existing assets, borrow funds or absorb any financial burden from their cash flow. In the affordability section, capture information such as the client's willingness and ability to pay insurance premiums, based on an estimate of how much insurance cover will cost. Where premiums are to be paid from cash flow, confirm income and expenditure are recorded as part of the profile. ACT uses this information to determine available cash flow. If the client has limited spare cash flow, you should document that you've discussed and confirmed the client's willingness to reduce their current expenses to pay for the premiums if necessary. For premiums paid from super, you'll need to explain that the premiums will reduce amount paid into the super account and confirm that their clients understand this will impact their super balance and are comfortable with it. Then document any discussion about the pros and cons of insurance held within or outside superannuation, including the client's understanding of the impact of paying for insurance through their super fund. Based on the information you enter, the ACT will conduct an insurance needs analysis based on the assets and liabilities of a client. Should the client not want to include any assets or liabilities in the insurance needs analysis, the advisor needs to file note the reason why and that the risks have been explained and understood by the client. Next, we come to the section on risk discussions. Where your client has completed My Money Style or another tool, select the checkbox to indicate whether the client agreed with the outcome and document their responses to the outcome. Were they comfortable with the results and feel it was an accurate reflection of them? If not, document why not. You'll then need to document any personal circumstances that might impact their ability to be exposed to risk. For example, does the client have a limited time frame for achieving their goal or goals? For example, they might require a house deposit within the next few years or have a likely medical cost. What has been their personal experience of risk and loss in the past? In the event of market volatility, is there flexibility when it comes to the client's goals? Finally, use the Are there any other comments section to document any questions or concerns the client had and how you responded to them, or anything else relevant to your asset allocation decisions. Next, we come to the goal achievability. This section contains a free text field asking you to document the client's understanding of goal achievability in their own words. Now, in most cases, you'll be completing your file notes after the client meeting. So during that meeting, you'll need to make note. Write it down perhaps, of the client's description of goal achievability so that you can enter it here. Ideally, at a minimum, this would show that the client understands goal achievability is a combination of probability and shortfall, and that more bars indicate higher achievability, which is desirable for higher priority goals. Client testing has shown that understanding of goal achievability increases throughout the advice exploration conversation. Then, use the Other section to capture additional information that isn't already captured in the file note or the client profile that may be relevant.